You are listening to Peak One Sports.
Welcome to the Peak One Sports Fight Night Preview, brought to you by the Bungalow Sports Show. I'm Cole James Rambo. This is Alexis.
Yep.
We're back. We've got a really nice fight card this weekend.
Yeah, dude. Well,
I mean,
a lot of people think
yeah.
it's terrible, but I think it's great.
I don't. I think it's a great one, man. Especially coming off of what we had last weekend, and like last weekend, we talked about it not being that exciting, like looking at it on paper. Then there was controversial decisions and lackluster fights and things like that. So it just really was kind of a bummer card all the way around. To be honest,
You know, everyone's making a big deal about the Kai Kara France decision, but no one's saying anything about the Elise Reed and Jin Yu Fry match.
I know.
Jin Yu Fry completely won that fight.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it just, I don't know. It is what it is. What are you gonna do?
Oh, I have to mention something from the last episode. Like we were talking about Jamie Malarkey fighting Bryce Mitchell. I got fights.
Oh yeah.
But
no, I remember. No, Alexis. He texted me about it like right after we finished recording, or like later that night, and he's like, "Damn it!" He's like, "We got to remember to because there's always people out there who nitpick the little things you say."
Yeah.
So, because I'm one of those people. Sometimes when I listen to podcasts, I'm like, "Nope, that was wrong."
Yeah. They're in
that
the
was
same
wrong.
weight class, and in my defense, Bryce Mitchell would tear Jamie Malarkey based on his performances. Like everyone,
but you know what? We ultimately see that's how real we are here on the Fight Night Preview. Is we don't cut things out. Is we could have just cut that out and pretend like we're super smart, but no, because then there was anytime you bring up Bryce Mitchell's name, entertaining conversation usually ensues because he's a big time weirdo. Yeah. So it's like.
Just because that talk of Bryce Mitchell, like the podcast I sent you about the dude, they're talking about gravity and shit like that, or yeah, I went on a big kick after that. It was fun.
yeah. All right, well, that I don't know. We don't really need to. It's been a while since last week's card, and there wasn't anything crazy other than the bad decisions that really stood out. Obviously, a lot of people are, and I don't call them bad decisions. It's bad when somebody outright wins, and I can't give that to Kai Kara France. It was too close of a fight to say that it was a robbery or something. It was just like, yeah, I guess in some people's view and the way people watch fights, yeah, you won. But in other people's view, the other guy, so it's that old, we talked about a couple weeks ago of like, what is the judge looking at? Are they looking at like the less powerful punches but more landed, or are they looking at the ones that are kind of placed better and land harder and there's just less of them but maybe cause an equal amount of damage? I don't know.
I don't know, because I was doing like the end of the school year camp out with my daughter, and I had my son with me, and so I was watching the fight on mute, like no bias from the commentator, but we did pick Albazi to win, and like Kai Kara France was swinging but not really landing very well, and like Albazi was like surgical, so
he was more surgical, and he had those more like thudding punches where when you're sitting there watching a fight, you get those sounds, and that's the beauty of the Apex Center too, is like you get to hear stuff better, in certain situations, and like his punches seem like they hurt more.
Yeah, true, man. Like, well, even though I couldn't hear the punches, but it looked like he was doing the more damage, and then. Still don't understand how Kai got out of that rear naked choke, dude. That was that was crazy.
That was pretty crazy. No, it was an entertaining fight from my end of things. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't really have a dog in the fight other than the fact that we thought Albazi was going to win or whatever. But like, I can see why people think Kai Kara France won. I can see why he thinks he won. I just don't think that it was as egregious as the Jin Yu Fry one, and as egregious as a lot of other ones that we've seen and complained about, and they're never going to do anything about it. So let's forget about it.
People who are really upset about it, and I feel you guys, is those guys with like the $1 lottery tickets, where like that was the last fight they needed, and they had Kai there.
Right.
Yeah, we've been there. I mean,
I saw a guy in the comment section on YouTube was going Kai Car France. We'll see what he has to say about it. Comment, tell us how wrong we are and how much he won that fight. I don't know. Maybe you feel differently. I don't know. People get in the comments on these things. I like it, dude. Like even if it's nothing controversial, there and we're not arguing, but just seeing that people are tuning in and enjoying our commentary on some of this stuff. But let's move on to this weekend's card because it's a big one and it's one that's kind of worth. I mean, big one if you're a cash, it's probably not that big of a card for you. But for those of us who are really into the UFC, I like a lot of these matchups that are on it. So it's one of those that's worth kind of browsing over the whole card because we've got early prelims, and a main card, which is always cool. But yeah, UFC they're bringing back Fight Pass prelims on this one.
Yeah.
Huh? Interesting. I didn't even know Fight Pass was still a thing now that they merged with ESPN bought them, but I guess it is. So I will be having to watch those somewhere else. I'm not sure where. But I'm sure we all can figure out a nice place to watch those. But it's only 2 fights. We got a strawweight bout, Maria Oliveira, Diana Belbita, Oh, you don't see a lot of Romanians fighting. So there you go. We got a Chechen guy up here, David Dvorak. I like that guy. I've seen him fight a couple times.
Legit.
He's a top 10 flyweight on the early prelims. What is that about?
I think people
trying to get him in there to maybe buy the Fight Pass. It's just constantly trying to get us to buy stuff, man. I don't. Other prelims. What do we got here? Blake Builder. That guy was he a Ultimate Fighter guy?
I think he was a Contender Series dude.
Contender Series guy. That's where we might have talked about him back.
Yeah, Blake Builder. He's also he's good scrap. Who did he go up against?
I can't remember. I just remember his face and his name. I don't really remember his fight.
Yeah. I think we did pick him to win.
Right. There's a reason I remember him, and it's probably because he won for me at one point or another. So, but that's kicking off those prelims. Kyle Nelson. Is this? I haven't seen this guy fight.
No.
But he's Canadian. And so I'm going USA on that one for sure. We don't need to pick these, but this next one I'm interested in, this bantamweight bout, just because we got Ayman Zahabi, which is Firas Zahabi's brother, right? Right, famed coach Firas Zahabi, George St. Pierre, anybody from the Montreal area, and then this
I don't.
Arlang, whatever it is, the one named Chinese guy. I'm gonna call him Aqualung, dude. Like, what is because I want to say the Q's silent.
Yeah, Arlie Lang.
Ari Lang or something.
I wish they had the pronunciations like Google sometimes has, but
yeah.
No, so this is crazy. He has 24 wins, 9 losses. No, and Zahabi has 9 wins and 2 losses. So this is kind of most of the time, your fight record shouldn't really matter, but unless you're someone coming from where Zahabi's coming from, being the name and all that,
right? Well, me, I'm a big name guy, and I'm a big story guy. So anytime I see familiar Ayman Zahabi, I'm not necessarily invested in his career, but as someone who's connected to somebody who, it's just kind of okay, it makes it a little more interesting. And he's obviously kickboxer, so, he's coming trying to do something exciting. And then Aqualung over here, I only remember, I remember his name, and I remember being impressed by him.
Yeah, he's a good.
But I don't remember the fight. I've been trying to rack my brain all day to what was that fight? Because I remember watching it because I remember going, oh dang, this one name guy is good. Remember that, and I didn't remember how to say his name, and I don't remember the fight. But I'm impressed by him nonetheless. We got a Miranda Maverick sighting on the
Miranda Maverick for sure, dude.
Here's another name. God, they're just not making it easy on us. Jasmine Jasudavicius.
I think it's Jasudaviticus.
Jasudaviticus. Okay.
She's good, but Miranda Maverick her wrestling is top notch, dude. Like,
oh yeah, no, I'm definitely I'm currently still on that Maverick train, so I haven't been bucked off the back of like I was off the Demopolis train. I'm still on the Maverick train on this one. Chris Curtis, middleweight bout against Nasruddin Imavov. This has got exciting fight, probably written all over. At least an exciting first round. Both these guys are going to come out there and just try to knock each other out for a couple minutes, I'd imagine.
Yeah, dude. This is a tough pick because Chris Curtis is good, but Nasruddin is very how would you say it? He's unpredictable.
Yeah. So, yeah. Very like I don't want to say unorthodox, but like he's unpredictable. He throws things. It's kind of like
power. So like if I were to say anything, don't go the distance. Play it safe. Either one gets knocked out, you still end up winning in the end.
Right. So that one definitely, and you can see the odds. This thing is basically a pick'em because somebody's probably getting slept, and it's probably going to happen fairly quickly. But we'll see. If I was putting money on it, I'd say just vote for it. I'd say vote for a knockout on this one. If we're voting, we're not betting over here. I don't bet. But yeah, I'd say that one's definitely in a KO. Just don't pick a winner. Pick a under.
Pick a under.
Yeah, bet big on the under on that one. And then as the comments roll in, because it goes to a boring decision and everybody lost money on it.
Do you?
That's why I vote. I don't bet. I vote. Yep. All right, let's move on to the main card because I think it's going to be a good one. I know, like you said, it's for something that people are paying for and they're expecting the regular public to pay $80 for. It's not that impressive. But as somebody who really likes fights, and I see a lot of matchups I like on here.
Yeah.
Your boy Eric Anders kicking the thing off, middleweight. That's one of my favorite nicknames.
Yeah, your boy.
MMA, right? Your boy. Your boy.
He's been kind of off and on, you know.
His whole career has been kind of a roller coaster.
He lost to Joe Pyfer. Lost the decision. He beat Kyle Dawkins, which is crazy because Kyle Dawkins is on a tear right now.
Yeah,
a whole bunch.
He has an impressive resume. Even the people that he's lost to aren't slouches. You know what I mean? So, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of old Marc-Andre Barrios, or however you say his name, Barrios. I should know how to say the Canadian ones. I'm a hockey fan, but I'm just tongue tied today. But what do you think? Who do you think's gonna?
I'm going Barrios.
Just from the wrestling side of things?
Yeah, wrestling. He had Eric Anders is good, but I feel like, you know, he's just like one of those people who ported over from another, like, what was it, football?
Yeah.
A football player, yeah.
I believe he played for Alabama. He was a linebacker or something for Alabama.
Yeah, so I think, like, if it's not early and going up against someone with the experience of Barrios, I think Barrios is going to take it. I don't think he's going to finish him because Anders is pretty durable.
And Anders is one of those guys who he might be hard to finish, but he's not hard to tire out, and he'll just hang on for a boring decision. Barrios might just wrestle him and just work him over for 3 rounds. He may get some kind of a choke or something. Who knows? But I'm an Eric Anders fan, so I would like him to maybe pick up a victory, but I don't see that happening for him.
Yeah.
The next one, this featherweight fight, this one's going to be a pretty good one. This Dan Ige, Nate Landwehr fight, man. This one, they're hyping this one a lot more than I thought they would. Honestly, I've been seeing more coverage on this fight. Maybe it's just the MMA media is getting a little more, or like the mainstream MMA media is getting more knowledgeable about people who aren't household names, because I've actually seen a few, blogs and stuff actually, focusing on this fight in particular. What do you think?
I like Dan Ige, but I think Nate Landwehr is good. Like, he has more wins on his thing, and like usually when I back Dan Ige, like, he doesn't show up, and that's like,
well, that's the thing about Dan Ige is as of late he's been a little bit unreliable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like the last
and they're
one, but
they're both coming off wins, and I hate to say it, but I can't vote on Dan Ige after a win anymore, because he's been so back and forth a little bit lately, and I don't know. I think Landwehr's more, on his way up. I think they're on different trajectories right now.
Yeah.
I think Landwehr takes this one. I think. Sorry, Dan Ige, but I don't know.
Yeah, like Dan Ige has a story, right? He's a coach, and like he's a good fighter. Yeah. He helps people out, but like, I don't know, sometimes
all that other, it sucks to say, because you be doing all that stuff makes you an ultra good dude.
Yeah.
But not necessarily the best fighter, right? Because you've got a lot of other stuff on your mind, and a lot of times the people who are constantly in the top 5 or contending for titles, they have one thing on their mind. And you know what I mean? And that is their own career and their own competition and their own fights. And, it just the way it is.
Yeah.
And you see it even at the highest level when people become champion and they get all these other obligations and other different things pulling them in different directions. Their skills either start to wane, or they just start to lose interest, because the rest of the world's a lot more interesting. But
I'm gonna say Nate with the submission.
Yeah, that's I was thinking the same thing, man. I was thinking Landwehr by submission, just because I think their skill sets are on a different path right now.
Yeah.
Next one. This is weird that this fight is above the Dan Ige fight on the card. I feel like these ones should have been switched. This Adam Fugit, Mike Malott. Just because, Dan Ige's ranked. He's ranked top 15. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird. But this is another one where I'm like, you're gonna make this is part of an $80 package. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, this is like prelim.
Right. Yeah. This is prelim stuff. I'm not talking myself out of this card, but I'm kind of talking myself out of this card as we go through it. I'm like, wait, is it good? I'm like, well, maybe and you know what the thing is now that I'm sitting here kind of looking at these last 3 fights, and I'm like, I'm just really excited about the co-main and the main.
That's true.
That I think I'm excited enough that it kind of overshadows the rest of the card, makes me think it's cool. But maybe it's not that cool, and maybe especially not for $80. So maybe some of you shouldn't pay $80 for it and figure it out another way. We've talked about those types of things on the Bungalow Sports Show. You should go check it out. I think is episode 2. But anyways, find a Facebook Marketplace near you.
I'm not gonna vote on this one. Adam Fugit's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah,
a safe bet would be like the Canadian's hometown. But
right.
Yeah,
but his name's Mike Malott. Like,
it's not Malo.
He should. I don't know what it is. I think he feels like a guy who should be like a third line defenseman on an AHL hockey team. You know what I mean? And they would call him Malott, but then all the French Canadians in his life would call him Malo. Yeah, and he'd have a decent career on the minor league hockey circuit, but on an $80 main card in the UFC, I don't know if it's doing it for me. So yeah, I would stay away from this one betting. I mean, Mike the Canadian is a minus 205 favorite. I guess if you want to put money on it, but I think that's wrestling though, right? That's that wrestling push you get when it's kind of two evenly matched guys. Whoever the better wrestler is going to be the favorite.
That's true.
So yeah, gosh, really talking myself out of this one, but it doesn't matter because now we're
talking
on.
yourself out of this fight. Come on, let's get it straight here.
No way. So this fight for anybody who's who knows MMA and the UFC. This one should get you really excited because even the casuals should know Charles Oliveira. He was the Galdarn champion.
Yes.
But if you dig a little deeper, you should also know Beneil Dariush. This guy is on one of the most impressive streaks in UFC history. I mean, there's a few guys that have been lately kind of been since the Conor McGregor era, right? And entertainment playing such a huge factor in title shots and things like that in big fights. There's been more guys like Dariush, like Tony Ferguson, these guys who put together these crazy streaks without ever getting a title shot just because they weren't as beloved by the media. Like when back in the day, putting together as many fights as Dariush has put together, hold on, let me open up his stats here so I can see what's up. He's on an 8-fight win streak in the lightweight division. Like the lightweight division, that is almost impossible.
Yes,
at lightweight to put together 8 wins in a row, and 8 of those they were probably all ranked fighters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the last one was Gamrot, Gamrot was like a highly decorated wrestler. He had the hype train, and then Dariush just like put a stop,
smashed him.
And honestly, dude, if you don't know, this guy is literally one of the most underrated wrestlers. He has power in his hands. Dude, I'm a fan.
And he's a finisher, too. Yeah, he's a great wrestler, but he's constantly... He's one of those guys who, he's not going to, he can, I guess, one punch knock you out, but, he's just constantly going, and he finishes. He doesn't just... He gets you down and just keeps pounding and he's just constantly hitting you, it seems like, when you watch fights. He's just constantly doing something to you.
Yeah, dude. I feel like that's his main thing, and then he likes to play your game, so if you're stronger with striking, he's gonna strike with you. He comes from one of the best striking gyms. What is it, King's MMA with Rafael Cordero.
Beneil Dariush is just he's just not a social media guy, so you know what I mean. If he was a social media guy, he would be super popular, but it's just because he doesn't have you see guys that get into the top 5 that aren't popular because they have a boring style, i.e. Curtis Blades or something like that. But not his style is not boring. It's literally he just basically has zero internet presence.
Yeah, so, and
no one cares
that. So I like this dude. I've been watching him for a long time.
Oh yeah,
dude, I'm pretty sure with the way Charles Oliveira is, he gets hit a lot. Mm-hmm. Charles Oliveira is really good, but man, that dude gets hit. I mean, Gaethje cracked him, Michael Chandler cracked him, Dustin cracked him.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing and he is battle tested too. It's not like he's he gets hit, dude. But that's part of his game. Is
Makhachev cracked him,
and he's one of the few fighters with Iranian lineage in the UFC, so obviously I've always been extra invested because because I don't have that much invested in the Diaz brothers anymore, so I have to put something. I have to be try to be personally connected to guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's I don't know if he's Persian though. He might be Assyrian. Who knows though? I'm not sure. What do you think, man? I mean, Charles Oliveira, all those things we just said about Dariush, same for Charles. Charles Oliveira is a wrecking machine, dude. He's constantly throwing elbows at you, just constantly putting it on you, whether you're on the feet, constantly going for submissions and transitions and stuff on the ground. I
think that's probably going to be his play into Dariush, because Dariush is very technical when it comes to when he's on the ground. Every move, he's countering it. Dude, I think Charles Oliveira needs to play it safe and not come out guns blazing like he usually does.
Right.
Because he can get Dariush in his guard, but Dariush has good top game. And I'm also I don't know, man. I like Dariush over Oliveira, so I'm kind of biased on that.
Right.
even though like I picked Charles Oliveira to win other fights like against like
Oh, well, sure. But when you get into the top 5, especially at lightweight, like it is, I mean, even further than the top 5, there's so many good fighters at the top of that division that it could go either way in any of the matchups. It's just, this is the 2 guys with probably the highest output.
Yes.
In the division, so it's like it's going to be interesting to see if that kind of nullifies each other, or if they just go in there like 2 Tasmanian devils. And...
Okay, so we were talking about like streaks and stuff. Like Beneil Dariush is on like this crazy streak. Well, Charles Oliveira, if you guys don't know, every time he's fought in Canada, he's 0-4.
Oh, I love those.
One of those losses.
Those are my favorite.
Goes to big ball dude Jim Miller.
Oh.
Way back then, so I mean, Jim Miller fucked this dude
fresh
up,
off
man.
Well, we didn't even give him his props. Dang it! Like
No.
in that the one shining moment of last week's card was Jim Miller get a 23-second knockout
against the last replacement because he didn't fight Jared Gordon.
He didn't. We talked about him and Jared Gordon squaring off. That didn't happen. Jared Gordon mentioned getting concussed during his last fight. And then they pulled him from the...
I would just pull it as I didn't want to fight Jim Miller. Like, you see what happened, dude? No one wants to fight that dude, man.
No. He would have... I think he'd have done that to Jared Gordon after I saw that happen, dude. Like, Jim Miller is... Just give him a title shot.
Yeah.
Just give him one.
Give him one.
Why? Why not?
Do the Glover Teixeira thing, man. Give him the title shot.
Give him. It's like what do they do at the Oscars? Like they give him the Cecil B. DeMille like Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, we never gave you one of these, or maybe you didn't get as many of these as you should have. So here's a trophy to say that your whole career was good.
Yeah.
So Jim Miller, dude, give him that title shot. Just give it to him. When is the next? When is that belt on the line again next? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Makhachev. I don't even think they have a fight for Makhachev right now, do they?
I think he's waiting on. Oh no, they don't. This is the fight right here. Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush is the.
Oh, this is the eliminator right here.
Eliminator right here. Dude, Beneil Dariush. I want to see 2 high-level wrestlers go up against each other. 2 high-level wrestlers, 2 crisp strikers. I
think of all the matchups for Makhachev, like Dariush is going to be a tough one for him. You know what I mean? That's going to be he's like a bigger Volkanovski, kind of in the way that he fights. You know what I mean? He's got great wrestling defense, and he's also got big strikes and can put punches together. So it's and Volkanovski arguably won that fight against Makhachev, you know what I mean? So like, I think that I although Charles Oliveira, I'll pay to watch him fight anytime. I think Dariush, it's his time. I feel like it's almost jacked up that they're making him fight Oliveira to get a title shot. You know what I mean? Like he's done enough to get it. So since it's not like Makhachev's fighting somebody else, it's like I feel like why didn't you just give Dariush a title shot, dude? And then you could have had Charles Oliveira fight somebody else.
Yeah, and then
for the winner of that one. You know what I mean? But because they're you know what? They're racist against Iranians, dude. That Iranian
you
king.
can make the same argument with Bilal Muhammad, right? Like that dude has a crazy fight win streak, and he's still gonna fight another person and then get a title shot. You know,
and that's what I mean. It's like fighting Charles Oliveira any day of the week is a big deal, and if you win, it's a big accomplishment, even if there's no title on the line. But it's like he shouldn't have had to. He should have just got the next shot, but UFC is going to UFC.
Let's just say this: like, if Beneil beats Charles Oliveira, I mean, that's more fame to his name. He's going to get the recognition for what he deserves, and then even though like everybody in the UFC, when they talk about Beneil Dariush, like everything's good, wrestling, striking, this and that. Like it'll be more like in the public eyes.
Right.
Once he stomps Charles Oliveira, I'm going for a finish. Beneil's gonna finish him. I don't know if it's TKO.
Oh, that's saucy, dude. You think he's gonna finish him, huh? TKO.
Yeah. Because I feel like Charles Oliveira's gonna have another bad weight cut, man.
Yeah,
I see the same. Like I watch or like following these fighters and like up the same the same track record before the Makachev fight is Charles is doing. He's posting stuff where he's cutting weight and this, and it looks miserable in the pictures, getting ready for the fight, trying to give you like that look into
Charles is, as a champion, as a former champion who still lives in Brazil, he lives like a fat rat, dude. He has a good life, and that makes cutting weight so much harder. And it's also like you've already accomplished your dreams, and you've been champion, and you've been fighting for a long time. You fought more than most people's 2 careers put together. You've been fighting, against a guy like Beneil Dariush who still hasn't gotten a title shot yet. Whew! It's gonna be a good one. I think you're right though. I think Beneil Dariush. I'm gonna go with you on that. I'm gonna say TKO. I'm gonna say TKO.
All right. I'm just I'm doing the both. Do double chance.
Yeah. All right, main event time. This one again. This one I feel is going. You may not know Irina Aldana, but you obviously know Amanda Nunes, and you should know Irina Aldana because this MMA analyst, I guess we can call ourselves now, thinks she's gonna win the fight.
Yeah. Well, if you guys remember a couple fights back, Irina Aldana had this crazy TKO finish where she upkicked the girl in the liver. Like one of the most craziest, that's
crazy finish ever.
Lucky finish. I think that's considered lucky.
I mean, she meant to do it.
Yeah. It's just like I'm gonna throw and I'm gonna hit something. But other than that, man, like her boxing, she's part of that Mexican wave, man. Like.
No,
Victor Alton Romano didn't solidify that wave, but
he didn't, and we talked with him about him last week in that fight, and then touched on this one coming up. Is that Irina Aldana is part of that wave where we're talking about countries getting shine when they get some champions, when they get some contenders. But I mean, she's in a tough division, and she's fighting another champion who has won and lost and loved and lost and is married and has kids now and is super rich and is again kind of like a Charles Oliveira thing. It's like not that she's not the best woman fighter of all time, but she's got to lose sometime. She already lost her other belt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She got it back, but she lost it. You know what I mean? And she's gonna lose this one eventually too.
Yeah, I mean, this is the lower weight class from the last one, dude. Like,
you can't compare bantamweight to featherweight. You know what I mean in the women's division because there ain't nobody at featherweight. You know what I mean? Like
2 people now because like they got rid of Megan Anderson and
right.
Yeah.
So you can't really compare her other belt to this one, but. That's why I think that it's time for I think it's time to get some parity going in this, and I think Irina Aldana is the one that can do it because either that or she's going to get knocked out.
Yeah, I would say like if you look at like Irina Aldana's striking's a lot better and crisper. Amanda has like her ground game, but Irina Aldana has a ground game too. Like she's legit as well. So
and the fight has to get there.
Yeah.
And I think because she's a boxer, you know what I mean? She's got real good boxing, and Amanda Nunes has, arguably one of the only female fighters that has that special kind of power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no reason either of them's going to go in there and shoot a takedown. You know what I'm saying? So I think it could be a matter of her maybe getting pieced up a little bit and then she'll shoot. And how tired will she be at that time? And how much is she working on her wrestling all the time? You know what I mean? Who knows? Yeah. It's always interesting when people are like champ, double champ, get super famous. Like you don't get to see a lot of their training habits anymore. You know what I mean? So they don't always stick with the they don't always stick with the game plan. Or the training regimen or the plan. And we both know that having children makes everything hard. Yeah. So that's just, I mean, I don't know. Is Irina mom? Maybe I'm speaking out of turn. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
But
I think
the battle of the moms happened. What is it? Last fight at the featherweight, and or twice already. But and so they're like 1-1. Dude,
isn't it funny though? Like it is true though, and this is even coming from a more feminist side of things. Is like all these dudes that we've been talking about all have kids, but them being dads doesn't factor into it. But moms are different.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that shows you how big a piece of shit most dads have the ability to be if they choose to. It's just like, I'm just going to pretend like I don't have a family for 8 weeks
or
while
like
I go train or whatever.
As like kind of like a weakness when you see like, well, you've seen it in the tough episode last week where the guy was like, I'm doing it for my family and he lost.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Did you see, was it, who was it? Was it Pantoja? No, it was somebody else. It was some lightweight fighter, that a Brazilian guy, and he was God damn it! Oh, Moicano, Renato Moicano. He did like a live stream where he was watching the episode or whatever on his podcast or some shit, and he's just like, "Oh, this guy gonna lose." He's like just called him a pussy. He's like, "You're crying on TV, man." He's like, "You're not about that life, dude. Like, this guy's gonna lose." And then he went out there and got fucking blasted, dude. Like, and it sucks because, like, I'm sure that doesn't feel good to have like another fighter talking that way, but then it's like, well, you went out there and got knocked out, so you really can't say anything.
Yeah. I think it's like the whole like like the mama bear factor, right? Because mama bears are vicious.
But it's like I feel like in mentally, like when you're a mom, I couldn't do it. So as a father, I'm just saying. But like I don't think do you have that toggle switch? I feel like you always have your children. Maybe that makes them even more fierce. Yeah, you're right. Maybe like that. Maybe they can always, if they always just picture, like, if they get out there and they're Anthony Smith and like, you're trying to hurt my babies. You're trying to hurt my family. And then they go out there and lift up a Toyota Corolla or whatever. Like,
yeah. Like what, who is it? Freaking Anthony Smith did, but it didn't work.
Yeah. No. Anyways, I'm as big of a Amanda Nunes fan as anybody, but I think it's time. Irene Aldana is going to take this belt. I think we get a fight. We get probably 3 or 4 really good title fights at bantamweight if the belt changes hands.
Yeah, dude. I want to see. Looking at her thing, 8 wins by knockout, 3 wins by submission, 3 by decision. She's have 2 losses by knockout and 4 by decision.
Well, and Amanda Nunes doing interviews this week talking about being in the WWE and shit like that. So
dude, done. She's going.
Like she's already on the way out, and more power to you.
Respectfully,
you know what I mean?
No,
respectfully.
Want to get out? Get out, dude.
Right, and it's time. It's time for Viva La Mexico. It's time for the green, white, and red to take some more gold home, I think, this weekend. What else? Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited just because I get excited anytime there's fights to watch, but I think as we went through this, I got less excited. I'm really excited for those last 2 fights, and I think that's why I'm excited.
I want the last fight to be a long, hard fight. Even though it's grueling on both of them. It's grueling on anybody if it's like a full 5-round fight, but
I think if it does that,
because
that favors Irene.
Yeah, I want to see the durability of Irene,
and she's a plus 265, man. I think they don't have the odds up here for Dariush, but I think he's Dariush. Huh?
Dariush. They started as a pick'em and has been shifting ever since.
He's favorite now.
Yeah, he's favorite now. Everyone. Okay, like all the sharps, all everybody who knows has been doing this for a while. They're all on Dariush.
So let's do a nice little dog parlay. If I was to put money on it, I think would be Aldana.
Would it be Nate Landwehr
and Landwehr? I'd say Aldana and Landwehr. I wouldn't put my money anywhere else on this card. Everything's too much of a. Miranda Maverick's a huge I think she's gonna roll. So yeah. Landwehr, Aldana. If you have a couple extra
what's
bucks,
Builders
put it
odds
on
are?
Builder was all the way down. Builder is a minus 240 favorite.
Oh.
And yeah.
Is the hobby a favorite?
No, that's like a pick'em. He's a plus 100.
Oh, okay.
Maverick's a huge favorite. Curtis is a plus 130.
Curtis is a plus 130?
Mm-hmm.
I figure he would be the... Okay. That one's probably a safer bet. Like, if Curtis can make this go past round 2... once it goes into round 2, I think Curtis takes over.
All right. Well, yeah, so we're talking dogs. We're talking Curtis.
Yeah.
Landwehr. Yeah, the Landwehr one's a little more sketchy than that one.
Or if you want to be extra, what is it, about that life?
About that dog life,
you wait till after the first round when the live odds shift to Nazardine.
Oh, you're right.
And then take Curtis as a bigger dog.
Ooh.
Because that first round,
if you're a risky type,
yeah,
if you're one of those,
you gotta let that first round finish, man. So like you hold off, let that first round finish. If it gets through, then you capitalize on it. You know,
hold it back.
And then it's like once you put it in, it's straight like that adrenaline rush, and then you're off to the races, screaming at the TV.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, shoot, just that little bit of betting talk got me a little more excited about it. What else this week? Oh, we didn't even talk about there was another episode of Ultimate Fighter. McGregor looked less I guess intoxicated, gacked. He looked less.
There was less screen time on him this time.
Less screen, maybe that was it, but I just feel like in his he looked a little less like a balloon animal version of himself, like just super tight. Just that alcoholic face, like just tiny eyes, big old, just everything looked big and bloated and tight all at the same time.
I felt like he was really drunk, like slurring his words.
In that party,
when he was getting his haircut, but like that was only like mostly the TV time that he got, and most of it was like drama between. The other.
Well, dude, he was super hammered, and also like, how are you gonna get a haircut? And I know they mentioned it for a second in the show, but like that motherfucker was moving all over the place while that dude's trying to cut his hair, and then he's the type of dude that would get super pissed and storm out of there and threaten to beat his ass if he like chunked his haircut or something like that. And it's like, but you're sitting here freaking moving around like a bobblehead doll while this dude's trying to give you a fade. Oh, dude. McGregor.
Come on, man. A little more
disrespect. I take my barber seriously, man. All right.
Yeah.
Did you know? They're just trying to give you what you need to look your best, and you're just making their life hard.
Like 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes, just stay still. And then you can get out and go and hang out and do crazy things, you know?
He can't be alone with his thoughts.
Oh, man, dude. I feel like, or I have a feeling that Conor's going to lose every fight on this series.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
No.
It's not looking good at all. And then it's going to be real sad when him and Michael Chandler don't even fight.
Yeah. Because it's going to be like, oh, yeah, like we already know the end to that game.
Yeah. That's what's going to that's what's going to happen. Like, they're not going to fight. I am calling it right now.
This is not good for Conor because, once again, Conor didn't show up to the weigh-ins.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's not looking good on his character, but obviously he doesn't care that much about that. So,
but it's still like, and then
he's one of those people where it's like it's obviously a vanity thing because it's like, which as much trouble he gets himself into for being in the public eye and do it, like he's got so much money he doesn't have to be in the public. Like he could literally just go disappear deep into Ireland somewhere and nobody'd bother him ever again. But he is on The Ultimate Fighter, saying like doing all he keeps choosing to like get himself involved most of the time with a fight as the carrot at the end of a stick for whatever his antics are, and then no fight happens, you know what I mean? And then he ends up fighting Cowboy Cerrone.
I mean, I think he's like, he still wants it, but then like when he's in the situation, he's like,
He's like, oh yeah, this is too much of a pain in the ass because I've got like $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So, but
We'll see.
Another super impressive finish by Dean
Dude.
Chandler.
I mean, yeah, dude, like that
I like that guy. I remember Cody Gibson fighting in the UFC.
I remember,
You know what I mean?
with his scribe tattoo on the back. I was
Right,
like, I remember
no,
that tattoo.
Yeah, and then like obviously like Aljo's the champ now, so like a lot of his fights are looked back on more now, and you see a lot more stuff. So it's like I remember that Aljo fight. I remember that Manny Gambarian fight because I was a big Manny Gambarian fan, and I remember being psyched about that when he freaking guillotined him.
Yeah.
And so Cody Gibson's he's no slouch, dude. So it's like I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the show. And that knee, that freaking jumping knee was just
on the
perfectly timed, like just a perfect non-experience versus experience type of knockout.
Well, other dude was in Contender Series and lost to Raul Rosas Jr.
Right, right. Oh, that's where I remember him from. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
So they're both high caliber. It's just
yeah.
Dude, that guy has way more experience.
Just way more experience, and he just saw your hands were just far enough apart, and he could tell the way he was moving that. And I think he's had a knee knockout before too. Didn't he have a knee knockout in the UFC? Or
I think it was knee to
a TKO.
Knee to a TKO, yeah.
But you could tell anybody who's had knee knockouts. It takes a certain skill set to throw knees, like jumping ones like that. So there's certain guys where you can tell if you watch enough fights, it's like knowing somebody's going to throw a spin kick by watching their other leg. You know what I mean? Because they got to turn that foot sideways and they kind of set it up a couple times before they actually do it. And it's like with those knees, you can tell when the defensive fighter, the guy gets knocked out, you can tell how the other guy was able to know he could land that knee because of the way they hold their hands when they're, in their defensive boxing positions. It's like they're way too far apart. I could go in and he's going to put his hands up to the sides to block punches, and I'm just going to throw a fucking knee right up the middle.
Feint, and then knee goes up in the middle.
Right. So, and that's an experience move right there. It's just like, okay, I throw this, he does this, boom, and the other guy's like, he's throwing like it's just non-experience. Nobody ever tried to do that to him before.
Yeah. Well, the last
it's just the way it is.
Wrestle fucked them and choked them out.
And that's the thing is like until someone who's good at throwing those type of knees or those kind of moves that you don't see all the time, you know what I mean? Or it's rare when one actually lands or lands flush or knocks somebody out or whatever like that. Like until someone does it to you, it's really hard to practice like defending that or knowing that that's an option. You know what I mean? You got to watch a lot of tape to know if your guy can do that or not. You know what I mean? So it's like
you need space. You need to keep that space. You need to know where you're at all the time.
But yeah,
but,
I mean, he would have knocked me out. I'm not,
Oh yeah, dude. He could have just ran up and did that.
Only with that knee, though, bro. No other strikes. He could have knocked me out.
He could have pointed at it, and then he would have landed it on me. Like, that's how.
Like, okay. He'd been like, all right, dude.
All right, man.
That's a show for today. Thanks for joining me as always, everybody. Watch UFC 290,
289,
289. Look at that.
We're almost at 300.
We're almost there, almost to 300. But before we go, we're gonna do a live streaming Fight Companion show on July 29th. That's for UFC 291. That is Gaethje versus Poirier 2, and that one's going to be a radical main event. Hopefully the whole card's going to be a freaking awesome card, but either way, I'm going to be here, Alexis will be here, Joey's going to be here, some of the Peak One other hosts of other shows might pop in and out of the stream, but it's going to be streaming live on the Peak One Sports YouTube, July 29th. Mark your calendars.
Yes. That'll be legit.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. I'll see if I can get some people on my end to come on.
Yeah, well, whoever, man. It'll be a party. It'll be a live stream party. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.